Last week, Azael's drunken antics caused tempers to flare at the house. Then, in an electrifying start to the competition, 3 warriors secured their first official wins.
Well, just when you thought you've seen it all in the world of mixed martial arts, Dana White and the guys over at UFC have changed the game once again when it comes to combat sports, which you just saw. From the people who brought you the Ultimate Fighting Championship, now comes Power Slap. And it might be exactly what you expect, 2 tough opponents slapping each other across the face until one of them hits the floor. And it's not just a new sport, it's a new television series. UFC President Dana White, also the founder of Power Slap, joins us live. Dana, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate the time. There's a lot to get to. There's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of support, fanfare. Before I get to that, I wanted to play a little clip, if I could, of the show. Here's one of the moments here from the reality TV series.
So I got a call late last night saying that the fighters got completely out of control. So first thing this morning, I called both teams to the training center. You guys have a huge opportunity in front of you right now. If you want to get belligerently drunk and act like do it when you get home.
Just a clip. Dana, talk to me about this, the excitement behind it. What exactly is Power Slap?
So I started goofing around on the internet in like 2017, and I started to see this stuff coming out of Poland and Russia, and I was fascinated by it. So I took a deeper dive and started looking at it. I mean, this thing was pulling like 350 million views on YouTube, and so I reached out to a guy in Russia, started talking to him about it, and then I talked to my old partners, the Fertitta brothers. We started the UFC together. And I said, I'm interested in possibly getting into this. And they said, well, if you do it, we're in with you. So I got back in business with the Fertitta brothers, and we launched this thing. We're going on episode 5 of the series that airs this Wednesday on TBS.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think even some of my inbox is filled with videos from it. You would think, or at least I would think, who would have the guts to get up there and get slapped as hard as they possibly can? Is there an art to it?
Yeah, and obviously, you know, these guys train, you know, which you can see inside the show. All the criticism that it's getting, it reminds me exactly of the same criticism we got when we started with the UFC. I mean, it's the same exact thing. And it's, you know, it's obviously something that people have never seen before. And everybody's talking about CTE and concussions and all this other stuff. Let me tell you this. So in boxing, an average fight, a boxer takes 400 to 600 punches. And that doesn't include the punches he took sparring, getting ready for the fight. These guys take 3 or less slaps per event. When you look at health and safety, there's nobody bigger on health and safety than me. 2001, we bought the UFC. 2023, there's never been a death or serious injury in the UFC because we spend the money to properly medically test these guys. And we do the same thing with the slap guys. 2001 to 2023, there's been 34 deaths in boxing. So, you know, these doctors that are coming out, you know, all these guys, these are the typical guys that like to get attention.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get to that since you're talking about critics, so I'll get to that in just a moment. I've actually got a few clips from that, but I wanted to show this. In terms of your competition, there are some real characters here. There's guys named Slap Daddy, Savage. One guy goes by the name of Juggernaut. But there was one who really stood out to our team. I believe it's Sheena Bathroy, the Hungarian Hurricane. Take a look at this.
I don't think I'm going to hold back.
That knockout is one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen.
That's unbelievable to see. So there's no question this is not just for the guys.
Yeah, no, there's women involved too. Even when we did the original tryouts, there were more women that showed up to do it because we did a trial run in like March where we brought in, you know, who was supposedly the best slappers in the world. and or in the country, we should say. There's guys in Poland and Russia, and as we get on to the next, we're doing the finale here in March, and then we're going to start season 2. We're going to start getting some of these people from all over the world to come in and compete.
I want to get back to that. There's a lot to see there. I want to get back to something that you touched on, some of the critics, and just to show both sides. This is one saying that this is barbaric. There are images of one fighter who was so badly disfigured by this event, he was unrecognizable, but actually won the whole thing. MMA reporter Al Dawson responded to that image that you just saw, tweeting, quote, "This is really grim to watch. Like, I just feel bad for everyone involved, but particularly obviously, the guy getting slapped so hard he's bleeding and looking disfigured." Again, your pushback on that, Dana?
Yeah, I love when grown men tell other grown men what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And if it's too gruesome and you don't like it, I got the solution for you. Don't watch it. But this is exactly the same stuff that people said about the UFC when it started, right? And apparently, if they think this guy is unrecognizable, he's got a swollen cheek. Apparently, you've never seen some of these guys what they look like at the end of a boxing match or at the end of a UFC fight. That's an absolute war. There's no difference. And you're always going to have critics. You're always going to have people who try to control what other. It's not like we're bringing these people in and making them do this. These are grown men that this is what they do. On a much smaller scale. We actually have taken the sport and regulated it. It's regulated by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. These guys get full medical testing before, during, and after the fight. And, it's as safe, like when we started the UFC, it's as safe as you could possibly make a combat sport. But I love when people try to tell other people what they should or shouldn't be doing. And this is a typical guy. This is an MMA reporter. This is a guy that never covered MMA in the early days. I don't even know who the hell he is, number one. Number two, a guy who obviously never covered the sport, but once it got popular, then he got into it and wanted to cover the sport.
Interesting. Before I let you go, I want to let the viewers know perhaps this is the first time that they're hearing about it, that they can see the reality show. There's a lot of excitement. Where can people watch this? I know this is, I believe it's 8 episodes, and it ends with a pay-per-view event. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're going into the 5th episode on Wednesday night. It's on TBS, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And I mean, if you follow this, let me tell you some of the numbers on TikTok. We started a TikTok for this thing 4 weeks ago. Yeah. In 4 weeks, we have 2 million followers and 800 million views on TikTok, the content. Instagram, 28.8 million views last week from Power Slap. And even when you talk about the broadcast, I've seen some people criticizing our ratings. First of all, we're on episode 4 on TBS. We went up the other night against ESPN, the NBA, the Mavericks versus the Clippers, when Kyrie played his first game in Dallas. On ESPN, they did 570,000 viewers for that game. We did 317. We've been around for 4 weeks. They've been around for 50 years or however long the NBA's been around. So this thing, absolutely positive. We were number 2 on all of television with males, only behind the NBA.
Clearly a lot of interest in this, and it appears to only keep growing. That is Dana White, founder of Power Slap, and of course, president and founder of UFC. Dana, good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.